Well, as you said, that was day 80. That goal, Robinho versus the Netherlands, didn't really help much because the Netherlands went on to make the final and Brazil out. And I think that's where we should start, Dr. Jordaan. You're part of the organizing committee as far as 2014 is concerned. Just update South Africans here at home. What is the latest as far as the state of readiness for Brazil, so to speak?
Well, as you say, tomorrow, 79 days to go. Still a lot of work to be done, particularly around finishing of the stadiums, the infrastructure around the stadiums, media centers and so on. But these few days must be an accelerated process to complete everything. The other side is going very well. The hospitality sales are over 400,000. The ticket sales are over 2 million sold already. Significant number, almost 60% of those tickets sold to Brazilian, but also a high number of foreign fans who's coming to Brazil. So around the atmosphere that will be created in Brazil, given the fact that you look at the hospitality and ticket sales, it seems that the world is gearing up to a wonderful, successful event, and therefore the pressure to get things done and get it in place.
What have been the major challenges, Dr. Jordaan, if I may put it that way, faced with Brazil? I mean, these are two different, we really can't compare South Africa to Brazil. It's a totally different World Cup, totally different event, totally different continent. There obviously are different, differences in terms of challenges, but somehow they'll ultimately be the same. What have been the major challenges that Brazil faced so far?
Well, I think if you look back, we were awarded the event in 2004, and we immediately started with the planning of infrastructure. And we had to build not just stadiums, we had to build airports, improvement in roads, hotels. 25 new hotels were built in that period. So the overall infrastructure plan started immediately after the award. In the case of Brazil, I think one of the issues is there was no competitive environment leading to Brazil, and that gave a sense of perhaps false comfort that Brazil was just awarded the event. The other countries in South America decided not to compete, and they agreed amongst themselves Brazil will host the World Cup on their behalf. And so there was a time delay before they got off to building the stadiums, and I think that time delay is creating problems now.
It almost reminds me of what South Africa went through prior to 2010. I think up until the very first game, there was still a lot of doubters. Even when the first game kicked off, they were still not confident in terms of our ability to host it. And it turned out to be, as we all now know, it's one of the best World Cups ever. And Brazil being a mad country when it comes to football, I think it will be the same, so to speak, with guarded confidence.
Yeah, absolutely. I think once the infrastructure program is finished, and that's for any organizing committee, the first thing you need to do is to get your infrastructure in place as soon as possible, and then get your operations, because the delivery is really your operational plans to deliver the event. And so if you are not complete with your infrastructure, then you cannot start planning around the stadium. And that's where the pressure comes in respect of Brazil. Of course, in South Africa's case, when we were 200 days, 150 days, 100 days celebration, all of the infrastructure were in place.
Was already handed in, yes.
But I think there's huge excitement around the event. And of course, from an African perspective, we are 5 countries going to the World Cup. There's high expectation. When I was in March in the CAF, CAF had called all the 5 African representatives and emphasized the fact that we need better performances from the African teams in this World Cup. Of course, some of them are in very strong groups. Ghana is in the group together with Portugal and Germany. Brazil is in the group of Cameroon. And so they are in strong groups. Cote d'Ivoire is there with Japan and Colombia. So it's not going to be easy, but we expect a lot from the African representative, because after the World Cup, we want to make the case that out of 32 countries going to the World Cup, Africa should have
So, in fact, that was my
more
next
teams.
question. We still want to have more than those 5 teams allocated, those spaces allocated to Africa as far as teams at the World Cup?
Well, we certainly will make the case because the decision on the current allocation was made in 1994 in Chicago in the United States, just before the World Cup started in the US in '94. And there the agreement was that they will increase from 24 teams in the World Cup to 32, and then Africa received the 5 teams. And it's now 20 years later, and I think it is time that we review. And a strong performance from the African countries will help us. And of course, the prize money is huge. From a prize money of $35 million to win the World Cup, to the lowest that you'll get is $8 million.
Yeah, just to compete. Dr. Jordaan, we're going to run out of time, but I need to, just wrap it up for us quickly. How many stadiums have been handed over to Brazil, and as far as their preparations are concerned, where are we now? Quick 30 seconds, just to wrap it up for us, because we do know that, as you were saying, stadiums and other infrastructural programs have been being handed over to the organizing committee.
Well, they have 12 host cities, from Porto Alegre in the south to Manaus and Fortaleza in the north. Porto Alegre, there's a lot of work to be done around the stadium. Curitiba, there's work to be done. So you have about 2-3 stadiums needs to have a focus. Of course, in the Confederations Cup, they use 6 stadiums, the Maracanã being the most important stadium, but the opening match, São Paulo, that stadium was not used in the Confederations Cup. So I think a lot of work still to be done, but we hope that everything will be ready.
Dr. Jordaan, SAFA President, thank you very much for speaking to us right on Sports Live. Today we're dealing with Brazil. I'm still going to have you back when we speak on SAFA matches, yes?
Okay, pleasure.
Thank you very much. That was Dr. Jordaan, SAFA President, as well as a delegate member of the organizing committee for the 2014 Brazilian Soccer World Cup. Sports Live takes a quick break. When we return, we speak cricket matters. Rob Walter is standing by. We're going to talk about that Pro-Chair game against New Zealand. Outstanding stuff. Stay tuned.